I'm Robert Mitchell. For 7 years, I thought I knew my wife. Emily worked as a senior analyst at Meridian Capital Partners in Boston. I'm a financial compliance officer for the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. I investigate fraud. It's what I do. We met in business school, Harvard MBA program. She was brilliant, ambitious, driven. I was the quiet one who asked the right questions. We balanced each other, or so I thought. 6 months ago, everything changed. Emily started working late, not occasionally, constantly. 3-4 nights a week, she'd come home after 10 p.m., exhausted, distant. When I asked about her day, she'd give one-word answers. How was work? Fine. What are you working on? Just a big project. You wouldn't understand. I'm an SEC compliance officer. I understand financial projects better than most people, but I let it go. Then came the weekend retreats, team-building exercises, strategy sessions, always with her mentor, David Thornton, the managing director who'd taken her under his wing 2 years ago. David thinks I have real potential, she'd say. He's teaching me how the industry really works. I'd smile, nod, support her career. But something felt wrong. It wasn't jealousy. It was pattern recognition. The same instinct that helped me catch fraud at work. Late nights, secretive behavior, defensive reactions when questioned. One night, I asked directly, "Emily, are you having an affair?" She looked at me like I'd slapped her. "What? Robert, how could you even ask that? You're never home. You won't talk to me. Your phone is always face down. You're hiding something." "I'm working. I'm trying to make senior VP before I'm 35. That requires sacrifice. If you can't support that, maybe we have bigger problems. I support your career. I just want to know what's going on." "What's going on is you're being paranoid and controlling. I can't believe you'd accuse me of cheating." She slept in the guest room that night. The next morning, she left for another weekend retreat in the Berkshires. Didn't kiss me goodbye. I sat in our brownstone in Back Bay, staring at my coffee, and made a decision. I called a private investigator. "What specifically do you want me to investigate?" "My wife, Emily. Her relationship with her mentor, David Thornton. I need to know if they're having an affair." Marcus took notes. "Anything else? Her work schedule? Where she goes? Who she meets? I just need to know what's happening." "I'll start surveillance tomorrow. I'll send you updates every 3 days. Encrypted email, no phone calls unless it's urgent." 3 days later, the first report arrived. Day 1 to 3 summary. Subject: Emily worked late at Meridian Capital offices, Tuesday and Thursday, Wednesday evening. Dinner with David Thornton at No. 9 Park Restaurant, 7:30, 10:15 p.m. Friday, left office at 6 p.m., drove to Berkshires with David Thornton. Weekend, stayed at Mountain View Resort. Separate rooms, confirmed with hotel staff. No physical contact observed beyond professional. Interactions, I read it twice. Separate rooms, professional interactions. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was just work. 6 days later, the second report arrived. Day 4-9. Summary. Multiple late-night meetings at Meridian Capital offices. Observed David Thornton arriving, leaving at unusual hours, 11 p.m., 2 a.m. Emily's car remained in parking garage overnight on 2 occasions. Intercepted conversation outside office, parabolic microphone. Discussion of offshore accounts and timing the transfers. Recommendation. This may not be an affair. Suggest expanding investigation to financial activities. I stared at that last line. Offshore accounts, timing transfers. I'm an SEC compliance officer. Those phrases meant one thing: fraud. I called Marcus. "I need you to dig deeper," I said. "Not into the affair. Into their financial activities. What are they doing?" "Mr. Mitchell, that's outside my usual scope. I'll pay double your rate. I need to know what they're involved in." Silence. Then, "I'll need a week." "Thank God, but she's involved in something much worse." He opened the folder. Inside were bank statements, wire transfer records, email printouts, surveillance photos. David Thornton is running an insider trading scheme. He's using Emily to execute trades through offshore accounts. She's the one making the transactions, but he's feeding her the information. If the SEC investigates, and they will, Emily will be the one who goes to prison. My blood went cold. She doesn't know. I don't think so. Look at these emails. He showed me printouts. David's emails to Emily. Execute these trades exactly as I've outlined. Trust me. This is how the industry works. Everyone does this. Emily's responses. Are you sure this is legal? This feels risky. I trust your judgment. She's asking questions, Marcus said, but he's manipulating her, telling her it's normal. That she's just inexperienced. He's setting her up to take the fall. How much money are we talking about? $8.4 million in illegal profits over the past 18 months, all traced back to accounts in Emily's name. Thornton's name appears nowhere. I felt sick. If the SEC investigates, she'll be charged with securities fraud, wire fraud, money laundering. She's looking at 10-15 years in federal prison. And Thornton walks away clean. He's been doing this for years. Uses junior analysts, manipulates them, then disappears when the investigation starts. Emily's the fourth person he's done this to. I sat in my car, staring at the folder. My wife wasn't cheating on me. She was being framed for federal crimes. What do? I asked. Marcus looked at me. You're SEC, right? You know what to do. But if you report this, your wife will hate you. She'll think you betrayed her. She'll never forgive you. If I don't report this, she goes to prison. That's the choice. I drove home. Emily was at another late meeting. I sat in my home office, the folder on my desk, and made the hardest decision of my life. I called my supervisor at the SEC. If this is about the affair accusations again, you're not having an affair. She stopped. What? I hired a private investigator. You're not sleeping with David Thornton. Her face went from confusion to rage. You what? You hired someone to follow me? Robert, that's insane. That's a violation of my privacy. I will never forgive you for this. Emily, sit down. No, I'm not sitting down. You had me followed like some criminal. Do you know how that makes me feel? Emily, please, just look at this. I handed her the folder. What is this? Evidence of what David Thornton is really doing. She opened it, started reading. Her face went from angry to confused to pale. These are my trades, my accounts. How did you? David Thornton is using you for insider trading. You're executing illegal trades. The money is in your name. If the SEC investigates, you go to prison, not him, you. She sat down. No, David said these were legitimate. He said this is how the industry works. He said he lied. He's been doing this for years. You're the fourth analyst he set up to take the fall. Her hands were shaking. I asked him if it was legal. He said I was just inexperienced, that I needed to trust him. He manipulated you, and now you're facing federal charges. She looked up at me. What do I do? I've already reported it to the SEC. They're opening an investigation tomorrow. You need to cooperate fully. Tell them everything. You'll probably lose your job, but if you cooperate, you might avoid prison. You reported me? To your own agency? I reported Thornton. But yes, your name is in the report, because your name is on the accounts. She stood up. You destroyed my career. I saved your life. I'll never forgive you for this. I know. She went to the guest room, slammed the door. I sat alone in the living room, wondering if I'd just ended my marriage to save my wife. Testified against Thornton. The prosecutors agreed she was a victim, not a co-conspirator. No charges were filed against her. But Meridian Capital fired her. No investment firm would hire someone involved in an SEC investigation, even as a witness. Our marriage hung by a thread. Emily moved into the guest room permanently. We barely spoke. When we did, it was cold, professional, like roommates who shared a mortgage. 6 months after the investigation started, Thornton was convicted, sentenced to 12 years in federal prison. That night, Emily knocked on my office door. Can we talk? I looked up from my laptop. Of course. She sat down. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. I've been thinking about everything, about what you did. Emily, let me finish. When you told me you'd hired a private investigator, I was furious. I felt violated, betrayed. I said I'd never forgive you. She paused. But you were right. David was using me, setting me up. If you hadn't investigated, if you hadn't reported it, I'd be in prison right now. Not him, me. I know. You saved me, and I hated you for it. I understand. I don't hate you anymore. I looked at her, waited. I forgive you, Robert, and I'm sorry for shutting you out, for not listening when you were worried, for choosing my career over our marriage, for treating you like the enemy when you were trying to protect me. She reached across the desk. Can we try again? Can we fix this? I looked at her hand, didn't take it. I forgive you too, Emily, I said gently. I really do. Her face lit up, hope flickering in her eyes. I pulled my hand back. But I can't stay married to you. She froze. What? But you saved me. You forgave me. I saved you because it was the right thing to do, because I don't want to see you in a cage for something you didn't fully understand. But you lied to me for months. You shut me out. You called me paranoid and controlling when I was trying to help you. You treated me like an enemy in my own home. I was scared, she whispered. I didn't know what was happening. I know. But trust is like a mirror, Emily. Once it's shattered, you can glue it back together, but you'll always see the cracks. And I deserve a reflection that isn't broken. Tears streamed down her face. Please. I'll do anything. Therapy. Counseling. Whatever it takes. I've already filed for divorce. The papers will be served next week. Robert, this isn't about punishment. It's about self-respect. You chose your career over our marriage. You chose David's word over mine. And when I tried to save you, you hated me for it. I was wrong. Yes, you were. And I'm glad you see that now. But I can't spend the rest of my life wondering if you'll choose someone else's word over mine again. I can't live in a marriage where trust has to be rebuilt from zero. She stood up. So that's it? After 7 years? After 7 years of me supporting you and 6 months of you shutting me out? Yes, that's it. She walked to the door, stopped. I hope you find someone who deserves you. I hope you find someone you'll trust. She left. We divorced amicably. No lawyers fighting over assets. No bitter courtroom battles. Just a clean break. She got what the law required. I kept the brownstone. Emily rebuilt her life, went back to school, got her CFA certification, started her own financial advisory firm, small, ethical, transparent. She's doing well. I'm genuinely happy for her. But I moved on. I sold the brownstone in Back Bay, too many memories of a marriage that died in a guest room, bought a modern condo in the Seaport district, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Boston Harbor, minimalist, clean, no ghosts, got promoted to senior compliance officer at the SEC. My salary jumped to $280,000. Bonuses pushed it over $350,000 in good years. I expanded my work, testified before Congress on financial fraud reform, consulted for the FBI on white-collar crime cases, built a reputation as one of the best fraud investigators on the East Coast. I traveled, London for a conference on international securities law, Singapore for a consultation with their financial regulatory authority, Zurich for a banking fraud seminar. I dated occasionally, nothing serious. I wasn't looking for serious. Mostly I enjoyed the peace of a life where no one was hiding anything from me, where I didn't have to wonder if I was being lied to, where trust wasn't something I had to rebuild, it was something I could choose to give. 2 years after the divorce, I ran into Emily at a coffee shop in Cambridge. She was with a client, professional, confident. She'd rebuilt herself. We made eye contact. She smiled. I nodded. We didn't speak. There was nothing left to say. Some nights I think about the choice I made, saving her life, ending our marriage, and I realize they weren't separate choices. They were the same choice. I saved her life because I'm a man who does the right thing, even when it costs me everything. And I ended our marriage because I'm a man who knows his worth. The best revenge I learned wasn't revenge at all. It was saving someone's life, walking away with your dignity intact, and building a future where you never had to question your own value again.